biggest
This goes out to all the women in the world, especially her. You know it don't even matter your age, don't even matter your color. Yo, fellas, I ain't thinking about y'all. This is for everybody that like to dance. Just listen to what I'm saying and do it and take a chance. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind. Get on the floor like I said before. Y'all remember that down low? Just put a little dip with it. Now roll those hips with it. Pop it, push
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, Chad, how we doing? How's everybody doing today? Oh my gosh. There's some stuff to talk about. I guess we gotta finish that gaming article. I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Unfortunately, I have a super chat from Duke of Tumwater. Jeez. Let's go ahead and this is from 2 hours ago. Let's go ahead and play this.
Have you heard of Jesus?
So Duke of Tumwater donates $50. Thank you very much for that. And it says, watch the video, Why the Protestant Reformation Was Worse Than You Thought by Pax Tube. See, why you gotta do this shit? Like, yeah, I need the fucking money right now, man. I do. But why you gotta do this kind of shit to me? Huh? You know, I thought I'd just come on and we talk about Neil Gaiman making some dumb arto go ass to mouth. Yeah, I thought we'd just do that. That would be fine. We could do that. But no, you want me to... I don't want to watch a bunch of fucking Catholic spurgs lie about God. Why we gotta do that shit? Couple of things to talk about today. David Lynch died, so get some F's in the chat for David Lynch. And good old Bob Euchre died. Oh, man. Who, you know, if you're my age or older, you remember as the, he was in a million things. Mr. Baseball. Famous sports announcer. He did baseball. He did fucking wrestling. He was in the movie Major League. That's probably his best known role. He was the dad in Mr. Belvedere, if you remember that show. So, get some F's in the chat for those guys. Bob Euchre, by all accounts, seemed like a really nice guy. Like, all the stories you ever heard about him, he just seemed really down to earth. Real, you know, treating everybody the same kind of guy. And David Lynch, obviously very influential director, writer. Oh, fuck. I don't want to watch Catholics. It's weird that my viewer count says one viewer, but I mean, I got like 5 people in the chat, so I don't know why that is. I have to assume it's a bit more than that. But I don't know, maybe it's just one guy with multiple accounts. It's just all been John Steele the whole time. They announced the Switch 2. I have to say, I didn't think they would. I thought they'd just keep pushing it with the Switch. I really did. I thought they were going to pull a Game Boy and just go a full 10 years before putting... Because the Switch is still selling. We're all hallucinations. Yeah, I'm not even on a computer right now. It's just a drawing of a computer on a piece of paper. But no, the Switch is still selling. Never even price dropped it. It's still selling. So, I don't know. They didn't really show much other than it's a little bit bigger. And it looks like it's probably even more prone to fucking break physically. Bunch of connector ports that look like they're just going to snap right the fuck off. So there's that. David Lynch got reincarnated as the Switch too. Well, that would explain why all the connector ports look goofy and nonsensical. Somebody says, I would not be shocked if Switch 2 games just have better DRM and it doesn't have better hardware. It's supposed to be more powerful. I mean, the leaks say it's at least as powerful as a Switch deck. Of course, the leaks also suggested it might be as high as $600, at least based on the Euro prices. So, Jesus, not for me then. Jesus. I don't even know if I'll get a Switch 2. I mean, I'm a big Bing Bing Woohoo nerd and shit. Yeah, I know. I got to buy a new Labo suit for the Switch too. Got to get more cardboard armor. No, look, I'm a big Bing Bing Woohoo guy, but I don't know, man. I don't got new console money in this economy. I don't even know that I even care. Like, they showed kinda like a little clip of a new Mario Kart, and looks like you can have up to 24 racers at one point, which is cool, I guess. But I don't know, man. If, and at this point, it's an if. It's a big if I get the fucking Switch 2. That ain't gonna happen till like 2026 at the latest. Because I'm not, even if I had the money, I ain't getting it right away. Like, even if I was flush with cash, I have no interest in getting it right away. Because the early ones are gonna be shit. All right, they're gonna be. I'm lucky. I got the second wave of Switches back in 2017. I didn't get that initial wave. You know, I didn't even think to pre-order, but I ended up getting it that Christmas, and I had the Joy-Con drift happen once to me in these 8 fucking years. But and I mean, some people have had that, like, they've gone through, like, you know, half a fucking dozen Joy-Cons. I only had it happen to me once. Chat says there's still so many good Switch games I haven't played. Yeah, I feel like in the next year or so I might grab Mario Wonder and that Zelda hit him with a chair game. Just, you know, because I mean, Nintendo games never go down in price anymore. That's just the used market. John Steele says I'm gonna listen to a stream that's less gay. Yeah, we're talking about gaming stuff. Sorry. Trust me, it's only gonna get more gay from here because then we gotta cover Catholics. So it's only good. It's only downhill from here. I don't blame you for ducking out. I wish I could duck out. See, this is why Jordan Owen doesn't like you, Duke of Tumwater. Duke of Dumbwaiter, or whatever gay shit he called you. You just do shit like this. Like, oh, you need $50? Cool. Here's something that will deeply upset you. Chat says, having the NES/SNES classic controllers helps with preventing drift. Yeah, but I only ever have used my Switch basically in handheld mode. The only times I've ever done otherwise is a couple of times I've gone to different people's houses, play like some Mario Kart or some Smash Brothers. Like, I used to take it over to this chick I was seeing back in like 2018-ish. Or my cousin, I brought it over to my now late cousin. That's a nice reminder there. My now late cousin, I brought it over to his place a few times. We played some Smash Bros. And some Mario Kart and shit like that. But that's, you know, I never hooked it up to my TV in my home. I don't have a TV in my room even, so. Chat says you put the kickstand down and use it for 2D games like Atari 50. I don't know, man. I mean, they didn't show any games. They showed the briefest of seconds of Mario Kart. You know, and okay. And I'm actually surprised it is Mario Kart. I kind of would have assumed they would have gone full Nintendo Kart at this point. Because they basically were halfway there with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But, like I said, I'm probably not getting it. Chat says, I was waiting for a few games worth getting on PS5. Needless to say, I don't have a PS5. What, you don't want to play Spider-Man 2 and a bunch of other shit that would have been on the PS4? I love how they're like, in the trailer, they're showing like this, all the slightly different like ports and shit on it, like that means anything. Like, just show some fucking games. You're not Sony. You don't sell the hardware alone. Sony sells hardware that has no fucking software on it. I don't understand why. Status symbol, I guess. People buy the PS5 because look how powerful the PS5 is. There's no fucking games on it. but cool, it's fucking powerful, I guess. Yeah, the Switch 2 has more games than the PS5. Well, Mario Kart confirms already it's got a better library. The fucking Virtual Boy is a better fucking library than the PS5. Oh. I don't know. I'm a little surprised. I don't even think it was the best idea. I don't think you're moving a lot of consoles in this economy, especially the prices that it's rumored to have. Forney says, "What's the point of buying an Xbox or PS5 when every one of their exclusives ends up on PC?" I don't know. I mean, Nintendo, protects their IPs, and they've got exclusives because of that. I mean, yeah, Sony and Microsoft don't fucking have that. Chat says the Virtual Boy rocks. Great hit or miss ratio with me. I mean, I have a Virtual Boy now, but I don't have any games on Mario Tennis because they're all stupid expensive. Duke Tumblr asks, "What would you like to see in the inevitable Switch 2 Smash Bros. Game?" I don't know, man. I was already kind of losing a little interest with this last Smash Bros. Game. I mean, look, I know I've beat this to death, and people have argued with me, and I think they've largely argued with me not understanding my point. But the moment like that gay ass Persona 5 character was in there, I was starting to lose interest. And I don't think he fucking belonged there because I always thought, and this is just me, I don't know what their fucking Nintendo never said this. This was what I assumed. If there was a third party character in Smash, I thought it was somebody that was fucking iconic. And if it's somebody that's fucking iconic, I should know who they are, even if I don't like or play the series. And I had no the fuck idea who this character was. Hell, Persona as a series is a series I never fucking heard of till the fourth one came out. Cloud's in there. Yeah, I don't like Final Fantasy. I know who Cloud is. I would recognize him out of the corner of my eye. The Minecraft guy is in there. And Minecraft is fucking gay-ass Zoomer brain rot. But whatever, man. It's iconic. I know who the fuck it is. It should be Nintendo characters with certain guest stars that are just really, really iconic. Like Sonic and fucking Pac-Man, Mega Man, Solid Snake even, I'd say. A Street Fighter character's cool, although I'd rather like Blanca or M. Bison over Ryu, but whatever, cool. Should have put like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot in there. Yeah. I know. Oh, it's so, but whatever, man. You probably could have gotten permission. Started with Bayonetta. Yeah, I keep forgetting Bayonetta's not a Nintendo character. That is, I don't know who the fuck owns that, but like, she's been Nintendo exclusive, basically almost from the start. So you're right though. That's not a Nintendo character, and as much as I like her, yeah, she probably shouldn't have made the cut. Chet says Persona is a popular game series. It might be. Look, I'm just saying there's nothing that's fucking iconic about it, in my opinion. And again, I would say that, once again, if it's iconic, I should recognize the motherfuckers even if I don't like it. Again, I'll point to Cloud. I don't like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is a series I think is gay as hell. Tactics is the only good fucking Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy VII is overrated horse shit. I know who Cloud is. I've known who Cloud is since 1997. I would recognize Cloud out of the corner of my eye. He's iconic. I say that as somebody who has no fucking love for that character or the franchise that spawned him. He's iconic. The Minecraft character is iconic. And I would rather he not be there on a personal level, but I can't deny he's fucking iconic. Chad says Banjo and Kazooie aren't iconic. The fuck they aren't. They're iconic. People know who the fuck Banjo and Kazooie are. Again, I ain't ever played a Banjo Kazooie game. Not once. Didn't have an N64. Had one well after the fact. Oh, my girlfriend had one. She actually stole one back in the 2000s. Back when GameCube was around. Back when it was the last system. But even then, I never had a fucking Banjo-Kazooie game on it. But I know who the fuck they are. Forney says, what do you have against Minecraft? Just because Zoomers ruin it doesn't mean it's bad. Look, man, I don't even think Minecraft is objectively a bad game. It's just, in my mind, it's associated with, like, Zoomer brain rot TikTok videos with an AI voice over it. You know? Bubsy should be in a Smash game. Bubsy's more iconic than anything from Persona, I'll give you that. Well, no, I don't know, man. I don't really have a... Conker? Conker's iffy, but... Chat says same problem with the Fire Emblem characters. See, again, though, those are Nintendo ones. So, like, look, trust me, I don't like the fact that there's a million Fire Emblem motherfuckers in there. Like, you know, there's nothing... It's great when you're, like, playing Smash and you're unlocking characters, and it's like, a new challenger, and it's like, oh, cool, anime twink dude with a sword. Thanks, cool, thanks, Fire Emblem. But, I mean, it's Nintendo pushing their own characters, you know? I get that. Chat says Halo's gone to shit. They might as well put Master Chief in it. Master Chief's iconic. I ain't played a fucking Halo game in my life. I knew who Master Chief is. Alright? Chat says, so 007 GoldenEye be in there? I would argue they probably would not want to have characters that aren't originally video game characters. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of how iconic they might be, like, you know, at that point, you're, like, adding SpongeBob and Goku and shit. Like, at that point, it's not about, like, gaming icons. Oh, my gosh. But I don't know, man. Look, Nintendo never said that third-party characters in a game were iconic. They never fucking said that. That's just what I assumed when they started doing it, because that's what they were doing. They were putting in iconic characters that people knew. So I don't know. It's their fucking shit. They can do what they want. It's just once he was in there, I was sort of like, I think I'm kind of gonna be tapping out now. But that's just, I don't know, man. That's just me. I'm more and more, I feel like I'm just tapping out of gaming. I just care less. And, like, I haven't even played Mario Wonder. And chat, you know I love me some Bing Bing Woohoo. I loves me some 2D Mario. And holy shit, it's 2D Mario with more playable characters. I love a fucking platformer with more playable characters that play differently. Got the two princesses in there. I think they have their, like, Mario 2 floaty powers. Like, I love fucking 3D World because of that shit. Luigi's got the weird jump. Toad's fast. That kind of fucking shit. That's cool. I love a slightly different playthrough with different characters. I still didn't get it. I just was looking at it. I was like, eh. I can't even explain why. I can't even explain why. I was just like the Zelda game where she makes a table and, you know, with her magic rod and shit, and it's like cool, looks cool, but I was like, eh. Last game I really played was Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't even finish it, but that's kind of common with open world games with me. I just squeeze all the exploration out of it I can and then just stop caring. So I don't know, man. Chat says, sounds to me like you're growing out of it. I kind of feel like I am, and I hate to say that because it sounds like some boomer games are for shit stuff, or games are for kids shit. But, like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I am. Like, I personally feel like I'm wasting my time when I play a video game. And it's entertainment. You could argue that about any entertainment. You know, you watch a fucking movie, you read a book even, you can argue you're wasting your fucking time. Certainly I'm, you know, and certainly it ain't like comic books don't become time consuming and certainly money consuming hobby. But it's just, I play a video game and I personally feel like I'm wasting my time. I can't even explain it. But like, it feels like a waste of time. And I don't even, like, I'm not even judging other people. I don't think other people are wasting their time playing video games. It feels like me personally, I am wasting my time when I play video games. Like the last game I think I bought was there was a Ninja Turtles arcade game they made for the 2012 Ninja Turtles that I think it came out in 2016 and it was put into like Dave and Buster's and shit like that. Never got a home console port. And for whatever reason last year I think they made a port of it and I got it for the Switch. And I played it for like 5 minutes. And it was like, eh. And it's like, it's cool to have it. Because, you know, I'm glad that they fucking made it available. I love Turtles shit. I love the 2012 Turtles in particular. I think it's actually objectively the best show. My nostalgia for the 80s show aside. Chad says, wait for a price drop on Mario Wonder. Ain't gonna be no fucking price drop on Mario Wonder. Trust me, that price is only gonna go up. Chad says, movies and comics aren't wasting time. I said that you could easily say they are. Look, man, this isn't... Don't jump down my throat about it, all right? Don't get defensive. I'm not saying it's subjectively a waste of time. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. I'm saying I personally feel like I'm wasting my time when I pick it up now. I don't exactly even know why. Right? I'm just sharing with you my fucking experience here, okay? Don't jump down my throat. Don't get... I'm not some boomer right-wing guy that's telling you need to work 80 hours to compete with Haji. You know, you entitled Zoomers and all that other shit. All right, I'm not working for the Daily Wire. Okay, you know, I'm not some evangelical guy out there telling you that, you know, you better just read your Bible and put babies in your wife, but make sure it's with missionary with the lights off. I'm not any of that shit, all right? I'm just telling you, I now feel like I'm wasting my time when I fire up a video game. More so than when I'm wasting my time more. I feel more like I'm wasting my time when I play a video game than when I'm rotting on the couch doom scrolling. And objectively, that's worse. But somehow, something has clicked in me where video games just feel like a waste of time right now. I don't know. My stupid ADD brain has just turned off, I guess, my fucking bing bing woohoo hyperfixation. And it'll probably come back. I mean, trust me, if I didn't think it would come back, I'd get rid of all this shit. There's a lot of money tied up in that fucking gaming collection. You know? I need money right now. Trust me, I could take my box of Game Boy games, my fucking Game Gear games. Shit, that Mega Man Game Gear game's worth $100 alone last time I checked, which was better part of a decade ago. You know, the NES games and the Super Nintendo games and the fucking peripheries and the fucking 360 and PS2 games and the fucking 3DS games. My God, some of them Pokemon games are... You see what the fuck they go for right now? I could take all that shit and get me a comfortable chunk of fucking cash right now. Not even taking the time to do it on eBay. Just go to the fucking retro game store. And I'm not going to do that because I know that shit's probably only going up anytime soon. And I'll probably get back into it. No. It's only going up in value and $1's only going down. So, you know, I'm not desperate enough to do that. But if I did think I was just done with it forever, I guess I would just do that. I don't know, man. I'm just burned out on it, I guess. You know, the modern gaming industry just sucks fucking showed, too. Like, there was just an article where it's like, Sony's going to put, to prevent input lag, Sony is looking into AI tech that's just going to predict what button you were going to push and just push it for you. Like, cool. That's fucking cool, isn't it? Oh, jeez. Chad says, I ever watched Transformers Prime. I did not. I've heard good things about that show, though. I started watching through the 2002 He-Man the other night. They made a He-Man reboot in 2002, and I caught some of it back in the day when it was new. But it kind of came and went in a hurry. It supposedly had good ratings, but they were still in that mindset where it's supposed to sell toys, and it wasn't selling enough toys. Because kids born after 1993 don't fucking play with toys. It just, nothing but screen time. So just that's why they pulled the plug on it. Same thing happened to a 2011 Thundercats that I've heard was good. But anyways, I started watching it on streaming. It's pretty good. Jen says 80 hours a week leaves you 2 hours of sleep if you factor in commute. Probably. Jen says there were price drops on all the Nintendo and Super Nintendo games I bought. Yeah, but like that shit don't happen anymore. The retro game market's insane, man. There's... Chet says, I remember my neighbors had 2002 He-Man toys, oddly enough. They did make them, and they sold all right, but they just didn't sell whatever guy in charge at Mattel or something thought they should, and they pulled the plug. Series is pretty good so far. I mean, it's definitely better than the 80s one. Not that that's a high bar. The 80s one is... Let's be generous and say it aged poorly. And don't get me wrong, I loved it when I was a little kid. Like, before I discovered Ninja Turtles, I loved He-Man. I thought it was the shit. But I was also like 3 and 4, and maybe 5, you know, before. Chat says the N64 is still reasonable in most cases because of the awful controllers. I haven't gotten into an N64. Other than the one my girlfriend stole from somebody. I know I've told that story on here before, but this chick I was dating, this was still my high school sweetheart, and this was like 04, 05-ish. So like the GameCube's out. It's been out for a hot minute too. So the N64 is what's considered old news. You know what I mean? But it's not retro yet. It's just the old console. And I drove her to some fucking place where some bitch owed her money. And I don't know. I don't know the details. I didn't know the details then. And after 20 fucking years, I certainly don't remember anything I was told. But I'm just waiting in the car. Because I don't even think she told... She's just like, I got to stop at this friend's house or something. Whatever. Waiting in the car. Because, you know... I didn't care to meet her fucking friends. Most of her friends were terrible. As evidenced by the fact that this bitch was trying to rip her off. She comes running out with this fucking tub of shit. Like this, like, one of those Tupperware storage tubs of fucking shit. And just, like, gets in the car with it. And she's like, come on, we gotta go. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, just drive. You're not driving. Like, I'm like, so I'm driving off, right? And I'm like, what did you do? And she opens it up and there's a fucking N64 in there with controllers and a bunch of games. And she's like, you like video games, right? Like, and I wasn't even into video games at the time. I was like, I guess, yeah, sure, whatever. She's like, I'll call it even with that bitch. But we didn't have no Banjo-Kazooie on there. What did she have? She had like Mario 64, which is obvious because I think that came with it. Ocarina of Time, first time I really started playing through Ocarina of Time, which fucking awesome. She had that stupid Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat game where it was like a side scroller that had fighting game controllers. Just awful. She had Quake. Quake was fun. We used to have a lot of Quake tournaments. Yeah, we will do battle. And and I grabbed South Park one time for it because it was like $1 at a fucking thrift store. Something like that. It was just dirt cheap at a thrift store. It was under $5 at least. Chad asks, have you tried buying Japanese games / consoles, language barriers, and ban? I've gotten a couple of Japanese Game Boy games because it's region free. I got a Godzilla Game Boy game. And I got the 3 Starfy games for the GBA. I played most of the Godzilla one. I haven't really played the Starfy ones. I have a ton of Game Boy games over the last few years that I scooped up just because they were still pretty cheap. And most of them I just made sure they worked and then stuck them in that fucking box for the rest of them. All right. Well, I guess I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about the fucking gaming stuff some more? I don't know. Like, he went ass to mouth on some fucking art hoe. He did that. That was cool, I guess. I don't know, man. Look, man, so we talked about that last time we were live, and we got about halfway through that article because it's super fucking long. I didn't really see anything in there that... There was one story that wasn't even the main chick, and it sounded like that might have been actual sexual assault. The rest of it just sounds like jilted lover shit. Like, look, man, you can get out of a relationship and feel like you were mistreated and you didn't really see it at the time. That's fine. But that's a lot different than you were raped. Like, that's just like, man, I shouldn't have put up with that. Lesson learned. Or maybe not a lesson learned, because, you know, if I can... Lord knows I've made similar mistakes in that department. Virtual Turbo Princess says, I think if you streamed your games and called it backlog or something, you'd get more super chats. Probably, but I don't know how to do that. Like, I got those games on a Game Boy. How do they make the Game Boy be on the computer? I don't know. I'm retarded. I do have some games on emulator for like a little external hard drive I can hook up, but even that, like, it's hard to do that kind of shit with just one screen too. You almost need 2 fucking monitors hooked up, and you know, I'm just working with a laptop here. Outer Fan says Transformers Prime is definitive Transformers free on Tubi. Did you ever read the original He-Man comics and mini comics where it was closer to a Conan knockoff? I've read a lot of them, yeah. I remember I had for a while, I think I sold it when I was thinning stuff out, but I had for a while a big hardcover that had all the little mini comics reprinted in it. Hell, I think I even put that back on my wish list because I kind of wish I had it again. And I got an omnibus that's basically all the stuff DC did with He-Man. I think it's missing the Injustice crossover and the fucking Masters of the Multiverse. But other than that, it's everything, like even the 80s shit that DC did with He-Man. And then they got the license again somewhere in the 2010s, I believe. Ran with it for a few years. Eldridge fan says you're a little soft on weirdo pervs. Back off. What? I mean, I am a weirdo perv, so what do you want? Yeah. And also, like, regret isn't rape. That's the point. Like, yeah, Neil Gaiman sounds like a piece of shit, but, like, breaking bitches' hearts ain't a crime. All right? You know, regret isn't rape. All right? So, and don't tell me you were raped when you were sending him happy texts about how great it was the next fucking day. All right? Like, you might have been getting gaslit and emotionally manipulated and all sorts of other shit like that that's maybe even abusive, but it ain't a fucking crime. All right? You know. And also, like, yeah, that's right. Women can't be held responsible for their actions, man. That's what it boils down to. I actually believe women have fucking agency. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure you regret this. I'm sure you wish you hadn't gotten involved. And he's an asshole for manipulating you and being emotionally abusive and maybe even a little fucking physically abusive. I don't know. But, like, none of this raises to the level of fucking crime. You know? Especially not when, like, you're texting him the next day about how fucking great it is, all right? If I'm on a jury and some chick is saying, oh, I got fucking raped, and, you know, and then the defense is like, well, she sent him a text next day saying, oh, last night was great, and then they had lunch together. I'm going to be like, oh, okay. Case fucking dismissed then. Like, not guilty. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe he was a bad fuck. Maybe he was a bad boyfriend. Maybe he was a bad lover. Maybe he didn't treat you right. Maybe you regret ever giving him the fucking time of day. Cool. You know? But, like, that ain't a fucking crime. Yeah. And 90% of this is he said, she said shit. And you get these lefties like, oh, well, you know, I mean, all these women aren't making it up. Yeah, maybe they are. Maybe one of them made it up, and maybe the other dog piled on them, and they made it up. I don't know. Like, and don't get me wrong, on the one hand, it's funny. It's funny to see him hoisted by his own fucking petard. That is hilarious. Mr. Me Too, and not all men, and fucking, what was he? You know, believe all women, Mr. fucking feminist, and all this other dumb shit. And he, you know, it's just like when Nick Fuentes gets banned off Twitter. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't support people getting banned off Twitter. But also Nick Fuentes doesn't believe in free speech. And he's a piece of shit. So bad things happening to him is funny. Neil Gaiman getting fucked by, you know, the very things he proposed, the very things he championed. It's funny. I'm not sitting here singing a sad fucking song of Neil Gaiman. But I'm also not going to fucking be like, oh, you can't read Neil Gaiman. Yeah. On Twitter and on a couple of Discord servers I'm in that pertain to comics, I usually post what my fucking Wednesday comic haul is. You know, it's just nice to chat about comics, you know. And I'm reading a comic adaptation of Ann and Nancy Boys, the novel he made. It's the comic isn't made by him, but it's an adaptation of his novel, so it's Neil Gaiman's in it. And I get some people like, oh, just can't I can't with a Neil Gaiman thing right now. It's like, cool, I can. All right, so Chad says both evangelicals and the left say women can't make their own decisions. Yeah, but they should also be fucking... No, they should be allowed to make their decisions, but not responsible for their decisions. So cool. Remember that poster that they put up in colleges where it's like, Mike is drunk and Liz is drunk. Mike and Liz have sex. Mike raped Liz. Is it so? Is that how that works? Why didn't Liz rape Mike? Or maybe neither one of them raped each other because they were both two drunk idiots and maybe made a bad decision. But we just leave it at that. Well, I'm stalling because, somebody gave me $50 and I'm supposed to watch some Catholic horse shit. Somebody give me $51 so I don't have to. How about that? Somebody give me $51 to undo Duke of Tumwater's fucking super chat. Can we do that? Fucking hell. I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. So this is some faggot goes by Pax Tube. Make sure to leave a dislike. God, I don't want to do this. This is deeply upsetting shit.
Religion in the modern world is Christianity. Over 2.4 billion people identify as Christians. But contrary to what some think, Christianity is not a unified religion with just one church and set of doctrines. That was true in the past, but it's a very different story today.
Is that bad? Is that inherently bad? Is it inherently bad that people are maybe thinking for themselves and doing their own fucking shit? Is that bad? Why is that bad?
Christianity has become an extremely broad term and refers to many different denominations who all identify as Christian. And despite identifying as Christian, all of these groups have...
Oh, for fuck's sake. You always bring up some dead fucking old denomination that has a dyke pastor, and it's like, cool, man. According to Church Militant, which is hardly a Protestant fucking source, by the way, up to 50% of the Vatican are closet homosexuals. 50 fucking percent. I once had a Catholic be like, I have the church that Peter founded. What do you have? It's like, I have a church that's 2,000 years old. What do you have? It's like, well, I have scripture that's between 2,000 and 5,000 years old. And I also have leadership I can trust around children. So I'll take those two things.
very different interpretations of what the religion means. The biggest of these denominations is Catholicism, the followers of the Roman Catholic Church. There are over 1 billion members worldwide.
Cool.
The next biggest group are known as Protestants. They follow various independent churches
Of course, he's got to pick this fucking demon here. That, by the way, everybody dunks on. Okay? Everybody dunks on this motherfucker. Everybody in him and Joel Osteen. They always act like they're the fucking authorities of evangelical culture. And it's like, they are shit on relentlessly. In fact, I would actually argue that because of this dickhead here, I can't even remember this guy's name off the top of my head, and Joel Osteen, the most famous one of these fucking prosperity gospel people, that because of their stupid fucking heresy, if anything, most evangelicalism goes into the opposite fucking ditch, where they value, you should just have like 10 kids. It doesn't matter if you can't afford it. Just be poor and just like live in shit, because you should have 10 kids and give your money to church and just have nothing. You should have nothing. You should have no pleasures in this life, is the opposite ditch that I see evangelicals go into all the time. Don't have hobbies. Just, and you see this with people on the right now. They're telling you to work 80 hours and all this other shit to compete with Haji. Just don't have any fucking joys. Have none of the finer things in life. Fuck you. That's actually the dominant fucking philosophy in evangelicals. This shit is low-hanging fruit that no one takes seriously except for a handful of fucking grandmas watching it. I'm not going to get through all this. I don't care if you give me $50, man. I can't. We'll be here for 4 fucking hours.
Reject Catholicism. There are many different Protestant groups who all disagree with each other, but the term Protestant is still useful as an umbrella term. The Catholic-Protestant divide goes back over 500 years. But how did it get this way? The answer is an event known as the Protestant Reformation.
Hell yeah, nailed it. Celebrating over 500 years and not caring what the gay nerd Pope says. By the way, you want to talk about fucking... Oh my god, look at Joel Osteen here. You got a gay commie in charge of your fucking church right now, buddy. And unlike you, I don't have to act like Joel Osteen or any of these other dickhead preachers as the mouth of God. You do.
Or, from a Catholic perspective, the Protestant Revolution. Now, some people think that these divisions within Christianity are trivial, silly, or meaningless. Atheists joke that Christians have fought religious wars through history for nothing. But in reality, these divisions have major impacts and implications on the world and Christianity. This video will explain why. Beginning in 1517, the Catholic Church, the dominant church that had defined Christianity for over a millennia, had its legitimacy and very existence challenged. It began with...
Cool. And why was that? Would that maybe be because they were selling little tickets to get your loved ones out of hell? Would that maybe be because they were scamming people? And they were corrupt and just terrible?
Priests like Martin Luther, who revolted and established their own church.
Yeah, would that maybe be some people actually read the Bible and said, oh wait, all that shit you're saying isn't in here? Like none of it.
These became independent Protestant churches who rejected the authority of the Pope. Contrary to what some think, Protestant reformers didn't simply revolt against what they saw as corruption or abuses within the church.
No, they revolted against false doctrine. All right, they looked at the scripture and said, "Hey, wait, all the shit you're saying isn't in here. None of it's in here." That's what they did. Chad says, who's the cheating reverend preacher that got his mistress to pray to thank God that she got to sleep with him? That would be Ravi Zacharias. Chad says, if Beckloff doesn't finish, nobody ever give him $50. Well, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so hang on. All right.
Perhaps
looking to get jacked.
Uh-oh, there's an ad. We can't have that. Let's go ahead and block this ad. Anyways, we want to make sure we finish.
Perhaps one day Christians can finally settle our disagreements and reunite under one banner, as it was in the past. Will it ever happen? Only God knows. This has been Pax, and thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos, please consider supporting the channel.
Well, I would not. I would not, actually. So there we go, chat. All done. 40 says, Jesus, fuck Beckloff, why aren't you using Brave? It blocks the ads automatically. Because, Sporny, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't ever think of doing that until I'm sitting here streaming. I finished it. Look, we skipped around a little, but we finished it. Okay? All right, we made it to the end. And that's the important... Look, we might have used the warp whistle to get there, but we beat Bowser. It counts, guys. It totally counts. But you know what? Because I'm a nice guy. We're going to go back. We're going to look at a little bit more of it, all right? But make sure we all understand that we made it to the end. All right, anyways, where was this faggot? Somewhere here, I guess.
The Catholic Church in the centuries before the Reformation was in an interesting position. From around the year 500 AD to 1500 was the Middle Ages, where the Church played an enormous role in European society. The decline and fall of the Roman Empire had been a cataclysmic event for the peoples of Europe, but over the centuries, life recovered and even prospered. The majority of Europe was Catholic, from the common people all the way up to the governments. The papacy's authority...
Well, yeah, because they'd kill you if you weren't. So that tended to boost the numbers.
As head of the church had held strong despite difficult trials like the Western Schism. Popes were very powerful leaders who could exercise authority across the entire continent. Even the most powerful kings and emperors sought the Pope's favor and blessings.
Cool. Is that really a good place to be? He says, hey, just got here. Can you start from the beginning to catch me up? Indulgences are a Protestant propaganda lie. The Catholic Church told me. The Catholics told me. Oh, man. Wolfland says many revolutions and falls of kings can be directly tied to the Bible getting translated into languages that common people could read. Honestly, like, don't... If you have a church that's like, this is our founding book, this is the Holy Scripture, the Word of God handed down to us. No, you can't read it. Don't take them fucking seriously, ever. Like, you shouldn't be stupid enough to fall for that.
This was the era of the Crusades and the Christianization of the last pagans of Europe. The church was probably the biggest international organization in the world, leading monasteries.
Still the biggest non-government landowner. And they didn't get that way by being nice.
Hospitals, universities, and more. Catholicism played an integral part in people's lives and European politics. Put simply, in the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church was the place to be. It had the leading scientists, intellectuals, theologians, philosophers, and philanthropists. You name it. Christianity's influence on public life was as strong as ever. Religious morality wasn't simply given lip service, but had real, tangible effects on civilization and people's behavior. Now, the church during this time was far from perfect, but neither was it bad.
What?
Like any human...
But I thought it was perfect. I thought it was the Holy Church of God.
Institution, the church had...
It's just a human institution now? No, that can't be right. I was told it was a divinely appointed institution that I dare not question. I'm confused, chat. Chat says us making you suffer as your brass teapot. Look, man, there's only so much $50 is going to get you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, here's $50 to just cry for 30 minutes. Like, this kind of shit is just deeply upsetting. All right, there's kind of a limit.
Both good and evil, sincerity and corruption. Nevertheless...
Here's the point, though. At the end of the day, it isn't even the fucking corruption. As bad as that is, as inexcusable as that is, as inexcusable as this corruption still fucking is, at the end of the day, you were teaching that God said shit that he didn't. That you know he didn't. At the end of the day, you were suppressing the gospel for purposes of money and power. That's a lot worse than mere fucking corruption, okay? That's a lot worse than somebody in the church is skimming off the top or they're fucking the secretary or something like that. Because first of all, the Pope's living in a fucking castle made of gold and fucking little boys. So it's the corruption level is worse to begin with. But also, no, it's that you're squashing the fucking gospel. That's the problem. All right? And you're still doing it. You're still doing it. All right? When Christ hung on that cross, when he fucking died, the veil in the temple was torn from top to fuck to bottom. All right? And that symbolized man's separation from God. That shit is done. All right? You may now, through Christ's work, freely approach the Father. And it has been the tireless mission of the Catholic Church since its fucking inception to sew that veil back up and make you pay a toll to go through it. That's the problem. That's the problem even more than the corruption. Monstrous as the corruption is. And by the way, that isn't just the Catholic Church. There's plenty of legalistic motherfuckers in Christianity that want to sew that veil back up. Because once you realize what the fuck that means, then you're not going to get swindled by these motherfuckers. You're not going to pay indulgences. You're not going to send money to Joel Osteen so God gives you a Mercedes. None of that shit. You're not going to lick James McDonald's boot because he makes you feel like you have a dad. None of that shit. You're not going to do any of that anymore. The moment you look at that veil torn from top to fuck to bottom and realize what that means. The moment you realize the thief on the cross was told by Jesus Christ, God incarnate, this day you will be with me in paradise. And he had nothing more to go off of than pointing to Jesus and saying, I'm with this guy. All right? He walks up to the pearly gates and then big fucking bouncer angels that are nothing but wings and eyeballs and fire are like, yo, buddy, where the fuck you going? And he points at Jesus and he says, I'm with that guy. And Jesus says, it's okay, boys. There you go. It's that fucking simple. It can't be that fucking simple. Well, it is. But Beckloff, doesn't that mean that you could just like believe in Jesus and then do whatever the fuck you want? Kinda, yeah. Yeah, actually, it kinda does. But that's terrible. I don't know, man. It ain't my fucking... I'm not the one that came up with that deal. But that's cheap grace. I guess it is. I guess it is because it's fucking free. It doesn't get any cheaper. It doesn't get any cheaper, does it, than free? Well, it's to stop you from just sinning as much as you want. Look, I got news for you. I do sin as much as I want. Now, the interesting thing is I don't want to nearly as much as I did before. But I got news for you. Everybody basically sins as much as they fucking want. And if you think you don't, you're probably even worse off. So yeah, enough with this Mary worshipping horse shit. Enough with the indulgences. Enough with licking the Pope's butthole. Alright? You ain't gotta do none of that. You ain't gotta call James McDonald sir. You ain't gotta let fucking Mark Driscoll yell at you. You ain't gotta give money to fucking Joel Osteen. You don't gotta do none of that shit. Why don't you just accept the fucking work of Christ and let God love you. And hey, that love's gonna probably make you fucking better anyways. But it ain't about you. And nobody, the irony is nobody wants to hear that. You'd think, hey, fucking free shit. The best shit. Eternal shit. Free eternal life. You'd think people be chomping at the bits for that. But no, even Christians want to water that shit down. Because of ego. Because you can't accept that it ain't got fuck all to do with you. You can't accept that you didn't add anything to it. Well, no, Jesus paid for most of it, right? But I threw in my 2 cents. No, you didn't. You didn't even have 2 cents. Okay, you had fake fucking wooden nickels. You had shit. You had Jack and shit, and Jack left town. You had zero. And nobody wants to fucking accept that. Nobody wants to get to that broken ass fucking point. Certainly, the religious trademark fucking copyright don't want to do that. The self-righteous sure as fuck don't want to do that. VoxTube or VoxDay or VoxGay or whatever this guy's name is, he sure as fuck doesn't want to do that. He wants to believe he's a good boy. And he brings something to the table with this whole exchange with God. You don't. You don't. Sorry to fucking tell you. You don't. He loved you. He paid for it. You're good. Now, when you really fucking internalize that, the irony is, when you really internalize the fact that God's going to love you regardless of whether or not you get better, the great irony of that is you're actually going to end up getting a little better. Because the only other option is self-righteous. The only other option is this filthy rags horse shit over here. That's Christianity. That's real Christianity. Not Catholicism, not fucking legalistic fucking Protestantism, and certainly not whatever the fuck that dyke pastor's doing in the beginning of this video. No, real Christianity is, holy shit, God paid for it. There you go. There you go. It's done. It's paid for. You're clear. You're free and clear. Guess what, Chad? I'm saved. I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to go to heaven when I die. I don't fucking deserve it. I've done terrible fucking things. And I'm probably going to do more terrible fucking things. I might do more terrible fucking things before the night's over. I'm still good. Still good. I can't change my fate if I wanted to at this point. You can't unsee something once you've seen it.
The Church did overall provide a valuable moral structure for Europe and the world. From the Catholic perspective, countless souls were delivered to heaven, and the Middle Ages produced many saints and historic achievements for the peoples of Europe. But by the time the 1500s came around, divisions in Christendom were growing. Catholicism at this time was in need of reform at all levels. The people, the clergy...
What? I thought it was the divine Church of God. I thought it was the Holy Mother Church. What are you talking about reform here? I don't know. This is dangerous talk, chat. We don't want every man being his own pope.
And even popes. I'll explain some of the issues plaguing the church at this time. Medieval church bureaucracy was expensive, and this required the church to have vast sums of money. While this wealth was mostly used responsibly, it also
It was mostly used responsibly, chat. It's a bigger fucking fairy tale than Mary died a virgin.
attracted people who were more interested in gaining a lucrative financial position than performing their religious duties. Many bishops and prelates began to live lavish lives, which contrasted greatly with the poverty of the lower clergy. There was also a serious problem called absenteeism. This was when a bishop controlled multiple dioceses to collect their incomes while failing to do the spiritual duties these offices required. This practice left people living in certain areas with poor religious education.
Poor religious education. You're talking about the institution that didn't let you read the Bible.
This love of wealth in the
The
late
institution that opposed the invention of the printing press.
Middle Ages was partly caused by the rise of the Renaissance. The Renaissance had many positive aspects in the fields of art, philosophy, architecture, and science. The papacy itself participated. But the Renaissance also had a dark side.
It got people to think for themselves. The Renaissance actually got people thinking. All of a sudden, you had smart, creative people that were actually trying to understand the world around them and not just listening to what a pedophile in a big hat said. And suddenly, the Catholic Church was just coming apart at the seams.
European elites and intellectuals began to over-focus on human virtues as being purely human rather than coming from God. Many in the higher classes developed an admiration for Greco-Roman luxury, which contrasted with the self-discipline Catholics were required to practice. Immoral poems and romances, biting satires on religious figures, and
Oh no! Oh no! So in other words, people made art. That's what these two complaints are, by the way. People made art, not church-approved propaganda, but art.
institutions, and revolutionary works all became popular.
Again, people made art. Not church-sanctioned propaganda, but art. Chat says, thank you, Beckloff. That was the best sermon I ever heard. We should make with them super chats, okay? Look, I if I was Joel Osteen, I would tell you that if you send me a super chat, God will take care of all your financial problems. He'll get you a Mercedes and a private jet. You'll be living your best life. But I'm not going to say that. But, I mean, he might. I don't know. I'm not telling him what to do. I'm not going to tell him what to do. All right? He might do that. So, you don't know until you try. Would be my point. So, just throw them super chats. Streamlabs.com/TheBeckloff. PayPal.me/TheBeckloff. And we don't have a link to the Amazon wishlist while I'm live. I got to put it down there afterwards. We'll put it down there afterwards. But you can buy me some dumb shit too. I'm just saying, you don't know. You don't know until you try. Yes, please super chat 10% of your income. And we'll get your dead relatives out of hell with the super chat. No, we're not doing that. No, I'm not even gonna joke that one. Not even gonna joke that one. We will not be doing that. Your super chats will have no effect on your dead relatives' final destination. I'm sorry to tell you. You should still super chat. Okay, but in the words of Jacob Marley, for me it is too late. That's not gonna help them. All right, sorry, can't tell you. But Catholicism compiled the Bible, says chat. Yeah, and then, so why did they promptly ignore it? I guess that would be my problem. Like, I remember there was a certain bald bisexual Canadian that once asked me, like, and just exactly when did this 2,000-year-old institution go wrong? And I was like, I don't know, Davis. And I held up a Bible, and I'm like, whenever they got away from this, you're the you're the history expert. What year was that? Which one of these gay popes was that? Whenever they got away from this, that would be the time. I don't know when that was. I don't know. I don't really care. But yeah, I'm sorry to tell you, Jesus plus nothing is how you get into heaven. All right. Now, I mean, your good works actually do affect, you know, how things will be for you in heaven a little bit. There is that, you know. But let me put it this way. Every lost person is building their hell. And every saved person is building their heaven. There is some truth in that, okay? Because when the believers are judged, all the shit in your life is burned away. All the straw is burned away, and all you're left with is the gold. And you might not have much gold. You might be holding like a couple of measly little coins, or maybe you got, like Wario Land. You got the little couple of coins, or you got the big mansion. I don't know. That's you, but you're gonna have some after all the straw's burned away. All right. You are rewarded for your good deeds in Christ, just as the lost are punished for their sins. You know, there are varying degrees of torment, I believe. But that's not the question of your actual. You know, you're getting on one of two trains, heading towards one of two destinations, and you got your train ticket. Okay. And when you've made your peace with God, you trade the hell train ticket in for the heaven train ticket. And you can't trade back. You're not going to be able to trade back, even if you wanted to. It's too bad. But there you go. You got your ticket. All right. But exactly what's waiting for you when you get there is a little bit your determination.
The church around the time of the Reformation also had a problem with priests following their oath of celibacy. Sometimes powerful figures in the church had illegitimate families.
And sometimes plowed little boy butts, too. Which is probably way worse. See, the Catholic would say probably. I would say definitely. But the Catholic would say probably.
Many bishops...
Sometimes they put on cat ears. And they pump each other's dumpers.
Were faithfully celibate, but many also were not. The historian Philip Hughes wrote...
By the way, the celibacy stuff is retarded. That's retarded, by the way. Catholic Church, I'm sorry to tell you. Like, the shepherd of the flock should be a family man, okay? He should have a wife and children. And I'm not one of these, we gotta get the birth rate up, guys, because that shit's stupid. There's 8 billion motherfuckers on this planet. We got plenty, all right? But yeah, there's like, I want to be led by a man, not a 30-year-old virgin, all right? Not a 40-year-old virgin. I don't give a fuck. If I wanted to listen to a 40-year-old virgin, I would go on to Movie Bob's Twitter feed, all right?
in his book, Popular History of the Reformation, that there were bishops who, in despite of all law, managed to have families of their own and to provide for them out of the wealth of the church.
Wow, it's almost like it's a corrupt shithole of an institution. Wow, it's almost like setting up parameters where you can't question the leadership leads to massive abuses of power. Who could have ever guessed, except for anybody that knows the first thing about human nature?
He wrote, "They brought them forward, acknowledged them, ennobled them, married them well, and spent not an inconsiderable amount of their diplomatic effort in efforts to bring them into the families of the reigning princes. Practices like this caused scandal in the church and damaged the reputation of the clergy. Then there was the famous practice of indulgences. This practice is very misunderstood today, so I will properly explain it."
Oh, is it? Oh, really? Oh, I bet. You know what, champ? I'm all fucking ears. Why don't you tell me why scamming people who lost a loved one was actually totally cool? Please.
By definition, indulgences were not sold, like is sometimes said.
They
Indulgence
were just given in exchange for money. It's like when the fucking... the evangelical ministries are guilty of this too. Like, Dr. David Jeremiah would be like, you know, oh my gosh, the one preacher. I pick on him because he's a goofball. But he'd be like, guys, if you enjoy my sermons, you should check out my new book. I only plagiarized a whole fucking chapter. That's real, by the way. He did that. You should check out my book. I'm giving away my book. Now, when I say give it away, I mean, if you send me a gift, if you send the ministry a gift of $20, we will give you this book. We'll give you this book in exchange for a gift of $20. Now, in the real world, we call it buying a book. But no, it's a gift of a book in exchange for a gift of $20. And by the way, the other thing David Jeremiah does, other than, once again, plagiarizing a whole butt fucking chapter of his book, that's real. He did that. David Jeremiah of Turning Point Ministries plagiarized a whole butt fucking chapter of his book. Once again, chat, that is real. He did that. Nothing happened to him. No fucking scandal. It, like, got reported on the Roy's Report and, like, shit like that. And he just said it was a publishing error. and the person who he ripped off can eat shit. That's basically what happened. I think they... But not only does he do that, he also likes to play this other little game. And a lot of them do this. So, like, okay, so I'm David Jeremiah, right, chat? And I wrote a book, which is more than I've done. Chris Becklove. I know I should be working on it right now. But unfortunately, Duke of Tumwater is making me listen to a gay cat boy. Anyways, I'm David Jeremiah, and I wrote a book. And I want my book to be on the bestseller list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ministry funds to buy the book at fucking wholesale, not retail. And then sell the book, quote unquote, well, exchange it for gifts of $20 or more, which is the, retail price. So I'm going to use ministry funds to buy shitloads of my book at a discount so I can sell it for full retail through the ministry. And when I do that, I'm actually like bumping up my sales and laundering money and shit like that. No, Turning Point Ministry is not affiliated with Turning Point USA. It's a different thing. Chat says celibacy was so all the priest's assets would go to the church. I hadn't thought of that. But you're probably fucking right. Oh, man. Again, they didn't become the world's largest non-government landowner by accident. Duke of Tumwater says, Movie Bob once joked that being raised by the Catholic Church was a supervillain origin story. Well, for once, Movie Bob's reasonable. We ain't getting through all this either. But I know, Duke, I'm sorry, but I've spent plenty of time on it, but we're not getting through all this. We're at an hour and a half now. If there are very specific timestamps you have that must be nailed, you could let me know. But I'm telling you, we're not going to make it through all this. It's just not going to fucking happen. I'm not going to be here till 4 a.m. doing this. And at this rate, that's what's going to happen.
Spiritual work of penance, where someone would repent of their sins and offer good works in compensation. Monetary donations to the church could be accepted as part of these good works.
Ah, okay. And by the way, that's not even the indulgence that were the worst part. Although, yes, pay your fucking sin away is pretty goddamn disgusting. Again, kind of also insulting to Jesus' work on the cross. But fine. No, the real one that was fucking disgusting was, oh, hey, your fucking mom died? Well, she might be in hell or purgatory, which is a thing we completely fucking made up, not in the Bible at all. And, yeah, she's in purgatory. It's a special third place. It's a special third place that we totally didn't make up. And the only way to get her out of purgatory is for you to give me money. And I guess when you just raise up a whole group of fucking people that are just, taught from a young age to never fucking question the authority of the Catholic Church, some people are going to be dumb enough to fall for that fucking scam. That obvious fucking scam. I'm surprised they didn't have an Indian dude doing it. Like, yes, thank you. Your mother is in hell now, and we need Apple gift cards to get her out. That's the one everyone's really shitting on you for.
This compensation was for the damage done by a person's sin and did not reduce the spiritual penalty of sin, which only...
Yeah, you should make restitution when you are repentant. Yes. But that restitution should go to the people you harmed, not cut a check to the particular fucking pedophile in a big hat that, like...
only God could forgive. Indulgence payments were usually used to pay for things of public utility, like bridges and roads. This doctrine was
that sounds like a tax.
consistently upheld in Catholicism, and on paper it makes sense. But, as you would imagine, it was often abused.
You think?
Heavy emphasis was put on monetary donations above other good works.
You think?
Indulgence workers often sought to collect as much money as possible in connections with the indulgence.
No shit.
This led to the appearance that people's spiritual standing was tied to their socioeconomic status. This wasn't the
I wonder how that could have happened.
teaching of the church, but it could often appear that way. This only added to the growing sense that the church was becoming over-commercialized. In the years leading up to the Reformation, the Bishop Albert of Brandenburg was engaged in a massive campaign to raise money to pay back the Pope for letting him control multiple sees at once. He would be one of the church leaders called out by Martin Luther directly. To be fair to the church, it was an institution that was spread through all of Europe from Ireland to Poland. When you encompass so many different people, it's hard to keep
it was the Holy Mother Church that was in perfect spiritual unity. But
your house entirely clean. Nevertheless, as a holy institution, the church should be held to a high standard, and prior to the Reformation, it was struggling.
How exactly are you going to do that? That's the other thing. I remember, again, when I was arguing with a bald bisexual Canadian before he went insane and joined a pagan cult. He was like, oh, well, we got to reform the church from the inside. And here's the fucking problem with that, trad Catholics. A, you don't have the fucking leverage. You want to get shit done, you need leverage. And the only leverage you actually have in the church, because there's no real means of bringing up problems, is you could take your tithe away, I guess, if you had the balls to do that. That's the only fucking leverage you have, is the money you put in the fucking plate. And also, philosophically, you don't have the grounds to do it. According to Catholic teaching and Catholic doctrine that you spurgs are going on about, you're not supposed to question your fucking authority. Maybe pray to God and ask him to sort it the fuck out, but you need to fall the fucking line. That's what your church teaches. So you're not going to reform it. You're not going to fix it. It's not going to fucking happen. You can't hold authority accountable when you're not allowed to question authority. It's a pretty simple fucking concept.
To meet that standard. As for the general Catholic population of the time, historians note that there were still many examples of moral Christian life. The late 1400s actually produced many saints. But in some regions, ignorance, superstition...
Ignorance and superstition just is the Catholic Church. Also, by the way, the whole saints thing is horse shit. You know what a saint is? Somebody that's been set aside. You know what a saint is? It's somebody that's put his faith in Jesus Christ. Have you put your faith in Jesus Christ? Congratulations, you're a saint. You might not act like it, but you are. That's your standing before God. All these special fucking double secret probation saints that the Catholic Church came up, they're employee of the fucking week saints. That's all horse shit that some institution run by pedophiles came up with.
And religious indifference were rife. Moral laxity was increasing, although it should be said it was nowhere near today's level of laxity. It should be noted that this wasn't the first time the church was in trouble and in need of reform. Catholic leadership in the 10th century was famously corrupt and inefficient, with many anti-popes who tried to claim the papal throne. Reform in those days did eventually come, and as a result, Catholicism experienced a new era of prosperity and strength. In the early 1500s, this kind of reform was needed again, but the question was, would it come on time before lasting damage was done? Wise Catholics of the day saw the way the wind was blowing and urged fundamental reforms to clear out corruption and abuses within the Church. The Fifth Lateran Council was called by Pope Julius II from 1512 to 1517.
I'm only like halfway fucking paying attention to this, by the way, chat. Somebody's sending me texts, and I'm kind of paying attention to that. Oh, God. What do we got here? Jesus Christ. How about we hop over to the Protestant Reformation begins? You know what?
The Reformation, as we know it, began in Germany with a priest called Martin Luther. Luther was a Catholic priest who called for debate about the various abuses within the Church, especially indulgences.
No, Luther's biggest thing was that the Catholic Church was fundamentally wrong on the nature of salvation. And they were. And they still are. That's his biggest thing. That was his biggest thing. And we're probably going to gloss over that in this fucking video, aren't we? Chet says, Backloss best live stream to date. I don't know about that, man. I've had way better back in the day. Plus, why is it not the fucking most super chats to date then? How about that?
He was far from the only Catholic priest calling for reform, but what eventually set him apart was that he began to preach his own ideas about salvation that were very different from the Church's.
Oh, you mean the things that he read in the Bible? The things that he saw in Scripture that were obvious in Scripture? You mean those things? They weren't his ideas. He didn't just make them up.
He famously declared that faith alone could lead someone to salvation, and
so did Christ.
He argued against the necessity of things like good works, the sacraments, or other Catholic principles.
Cool. How many good works did the thief on the cross have? How many sacraments did the thief on the cross have? The moment your standard of salvation doesn't include the thief on the cross, you make Christ a liar. Now, I know we're talking about Jesus and not Mary, so maybe Catholics don't give a fuck. But the moment you decide, no, it's actually this. It's actually you got to give money to some pedophile in a big hat. You make Christ a liar. This is why I can't hang with this shit. Honest to God, man. This is why this shit's upsetting. This isn't just some normal fucking corruption. It's not some political disagreement. This shit is blasphemy. This is fucking blasphemy hiding behind a cross. That's what the fucking trad Catholics are. This shit is honest to God upsetting. I don't give a fuck if some fedora is like making jokes about Jesus or some dumb shit like that, because they're not doing it in God's fucking name. All right? But no, this is the organization that's pretending to be the one true church, and they're lying about the work of Jesus Christ. And it's fucking upsetting. I'm sorry, I know you gave me $50. It's deeply fucking upsetting. I think we're done with it. I'm sorry to tell you. Maybe we'll watch the rest later. I don't know. I don't want to play anymore. You know, like, I don't care if some fucking fedora, like, oh look, I put a cross in a jar of piss. Does it trigger you, bro? No, it doesn't. Like, yeah, I was in the 10th grade once too. Okay, yeah, cool, bro. Look, man, aren't you Jesus Christ fucking a priest? Does that trigger you, bro? I don't care. I don't care, dude. That's your fucking problem. You gotta explain that to me. None of that fucking bothers me. When the lost are doing that shit, none of that bothers me. Don't care. Whatever, man, it's you. And how dare I throw stones? Because, I was a dickhead granted I was a teenager then. You're supposed to outgrow that shit. But yeah, I was a dickhead fucking agnostic fedora in my day, and I like to fucking piss Christians off because it's fun and easy. But it doesn't work on me. It's like, whatever, man. You should probably repent of that. He's very patient, but it only goes so far. But that's between you and him. Doesn't bother me. This shit bothers me. This shit deeply upsets me. The Catholic Church has sent more people to hell than any Reddit fedora or fucking, I'm a Satanist bro, all those kind of fucking cringe lords any of them ever could dream of. And you know how they did it? They told you that you got saved by giving money to a pedophile. They hid the nature of the gospel. And if they didn't lead to people being in hell, they led to people living miserable, oppressed fucking lives. Because I'm not going to tell you that every Catholic ain't saved. But I'm going to tell you this. If all the evangelicals are right about how the rapture works, there's going to be enough Catholics that they're barely going to notice. There's going to be plenty of Catholics left. The Catholic Church will still fucking exist. In fact, it kind of has to, because I really fail to see what else counts as the whore of Babylon. But whatever. I'm a little agnostic, for lack of a less charged term, when it comes to end of days shit. There's way too much of that legalism shit in Protestant circles. If anything, it was something that made me think Christianity was full of shit. That's when I first really looked into it as a teenager. When I was a teenager, I got heavily into politics. And before I even knew what libertarian was, I leaned towards libertarian. Because foolish me, I was told this was the land of the free, and I actually believed it. So that was always my biggest problem with Republicans, was all the fucking faggy, moralizing, social conservative horse shit. So that kind of led me to looking into Christianity heavily. I guess I would have, as a kid, considered myself a Christian, but not really. We had Christmas and Easter. I knew vaguely of Christianity, but never really believed it. We didn't go to church. None of that. Nominal Christians at most. And as a teenager, I was basically agnostic. And part of why I was like, oh, this is actually horse shit, is, you look at the actual nature of the gospel, and it's like, hey, the free gift of salvation. And then immediately some legalistic asshole tries to add all their shit to it. It's like those commercials where you hear, this is 100% guaranteed, and then the little fine print says, not a guarantee. That's what it felt like. And then I realized, no, Christianity is the free gift of salvation. It's just there's a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers that want to control you and want to add their shit to it. Chet says maybe Beckloff should become a pastor and start his own church. That's funny. No. Look, man, I'm going to be real with you. The visible part of the iceberg that is a pastor's job, the giving a sermon on Sunday morning, I feel like I could do. I'd have to learn. I'd have to really buckle down and study and shit. It'd certainly be a learning curve, but I mean, essentially, it's give a fucking speech on Sunday morning when you get right down to it. And that's the visible part of the iceberg that is a pastor's job. Because the rest of that is somebody calls you up at 4 a.m. and tells you their kid just died or something. You know, the rest of it is being a shepherd to a flock, and ain't no way in hell I can do that. But no, man, I'm sorry. I know you sent $50. It's just, I can't. I reached a point where I can't anymore. I'll start fucking Fed posting or something. Alright, Chad. If you enjoy the content I put out, and I don't know why you would because it's dog shit, but if you do, you can hit that streamlabs.com/thebacklog. Send a super chat when I'm not live, and I'll see it when I am live. PayPal.me/thebacklog. Donations greatly appreciated right now because I am a jobless bum currently. And I'll put a link to the Amazon wishlist down below. Could Beckloff counsel couples with marriage issues? I think my first question would be, are you sucking his dick to the wife? Second question to him, are you eating her pussy? Why don't you two try that for a while? See if things don't sort themselves out. Why don't you go home and make each other come? Do that every night for a week. Come back to me if shit ain't fucking sorted out. And I bet you not a lot of people come back to me. I bet you not many people are coming back in a week. Oh, that's terrible. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know. It's true. You know, if you're a wife and you're like, my husband, he doesn't do anything around the house. I told him to clean the garage, and he wouldn't clean the garage. And I'm like, why don't you try sucking his dick, and then you ask him to clean the garage? See if a man with a full stomach and an empty ball sack ain't a lot more agreeable. Ladies, it ain't hard. It ain't. I mean, it's hard for a while, but you know what I'm talking about. It ain't difficult. All right. Men are pretty easy characters. Like women will kill and die for you, okay? And you realize all you really need to do is be nice to them and keep their stomach full and their balls empty. That's all you gotta do. And they will burn down the world for you if they have to. Like, they just... Anyways. We're gonna duck out here. So, if you enjoy the content I put out, do consider supporting me. Streamlabs.com/thebacklog, paypal.me/thebacklog. And I will put a link to the Amazon wishlist down below where you can buy me some of the dumb shit that I like, because that would be very cool too. Hey, I'd like to read that Common America. I got the fucking big old hardcover on there. Alrighty. Okay, so that's about it for tonight.